Welcome to APEA Dog Grooming. Today we are grooming the very lovely Abis. Now the owner says she is a mix between a poodle and a schnauzer, but frankly I'm seeing a little havanese in her, So Abis today is getting a shave down. It's more of a comfort groom rather than a stylish groom. She is a 10-year-old pup. Well, not pup anymore, but she has been through a lot. She has been under treatment for the last year or so. They have found cancer in her joints. So I'm not a vet, so I don't know what that kind of cancer is. Cancer like bone cancer, I'm guessing. Anyway, so she's been taking, pills and going to the doctor and all of that. So she hasn't been groomed in a very long time. You can tell there is some matting in some places, but when it comes to like serious health issues, matting is really nothing. I mean, yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it's painful when you get them off and everything, but I mean, she's dealing with cancer, so we gotta give the owner a break. And she asked for the most easiest, most comfortable haircut for her, and that's basically just a regular shave down. She doesn't have to worry about brushing or combing or tangles or anything like that for about at least 6 months. Depends on how fast her her fur grows back. So that's what we're doing today. So on top of all that, she is what I consider a senior dog. She is about 10 years old, and well, with all the treatment she's been going through, the owner hasn't been too preoccupied with the grooming part, and that's totally understandable. I will not judge her for any matting and knots and stuff that we find further along in the groom, because well, she's basically dealing with life and death here. So anyways, so we're doing a 7FC blade. I am using the Ultra Edge. You guys know I use my Ultra Edge for the rough cut. I am going to give her a good scrub with the Zoom Groom, since we are not pre-brushing this coat, and I do want to get any loose hair and basically anything. Sorry guys. Yeah, so I'm going to be using the Zoom Groom on her while bathing her, because she does have some flaking on her back, and that's just because, well, she hasn't been been brushed out in a long time, so the skin is dry. So we're just gonna use that Zoom Groom to get rid of that, just to give it a nice rub, a nice scrub, and hopefully stimulate that scalp so that new hair can grow back and healthy, and that the oils that their skin produces can get evenly distributed and remove any excess oils. Alright, so I did have to carry her and put her in a higher position because my back is killing me, and she was just too far down. So always try to look for your comfort when working and anything, basically, because and whatever you do for work, because it can really be damaging your health if you keep bending over, if you don't use your knees when you carry, stuff like that. So just try to use what you can to make your life simpler. In this case, this groom, a lot more comfortable for myself. Alright, so the point of a rough cut is that we are going to bathe her, and she's gonna be shaved down anyway. So there is no point in brushing out all of those mats and tangles and, you know, make her go through that if she's just gonna get shaved down. And, you know, it really cuts down on the drying time. And, you know, most dogs, if not all dogs, really dislike the drying part. So just wanna cut down on that. And even though we are doing a shave down, it doesn't mean not to brush them. You still can brush them, just with a curry comb, yeah, or a all natural curry comb. You never want to use a slicker brush on a shaved dog. Okay, the slicker brush can easily scratch up that skin, and you know, it'll hurt, so don't do that. Now, the downside to rough cutting a dog is that your blades will last less. Like, it'll last less if you cut a dirty coat, rather if you cut a clean coat. A clean coat will make your blades just, you know, make it go through the coat nicely, but in this case, we don't want to put her through all of that brushing, so we're doing a shave down with a number 7. Now, you recommend use a number 7 to do a summer cut. Summer cut and shave down are basically the same thing, okay? So I do recommend to use a number 7 FC, not the number 7, the normal 7, because in Andis, I'm not sure for other brands, but in Andis, the 7 is a skip tooth blade, and that can be really dangerous if you're not sure what you're doing. So I use a number 7, and the reason is because it just leaves a little bit longer than a number 10. Okay, now I do use a number 10 for shave downs, but those are just for extreme cases, like the one, you know, the flea infested one. Yeah. Always check your blades to make sure that they are not hot. And I found a trick. I don't remember who I saw it from, but you put your hand under that flap, and it is less likely for you to cut that dog if you put your hand right under it. And especially for those of you grooming your own dogs at home, make sure to have a light touch with your clipper, especially a 7F. As I've mentioned before, a 7F is more dangerous than a number 10 because the teeth are more far apart from each other than a number 10. So in a number 7, it is most likely you will get skin caught in between those teeth. So be careful. However, I do recommend using number 7 for a regular normal shave down / summer cut, because it does leave, like I said earlier, just leaves a little bit more hair than a number 10. And what that does, or why it's beneficial, is that since it does leave a little bit more length on the hair, it protects the skin from UV rays from the sun. It protects the skin from, you know, debris and all sorts of crazy stuff, you know, that the environment has. So it just leaves a longer length for protection that the dog needs. And a number 10, yeah, it is safe to use it. It's just not ideal. You know, nothing wrong can happen from, you know, shaving a dog with a number 10. It's just, it is more ideal to leave a dog with a number 7F length. Alright, so now that we have changed our blade because it was getting hot, um, make sure to always use a cool blade because you can burn the dog if your blade gets too hot. And you shouldn't, get to the point where your blade is boiling hot because that actually damages your clipper and the blade itself. And so it's it's better to have multiple blades so you can switch them out, and while one cools off you can start using the other one, and vice versa. So I keep my clean and disinfected blades in that little clear container box thingamajigger. um I mean, the other ones that were on the top drawer were clean. They were just supposedly ready to be used, and I forgot I left them there. And I don't know, I usually put things back in their place or back where they belong so that when I'm looking for them I don't have to scramble about just like you saw me do right there. I don't like that. It makes me a little nervous. I'm like, oh, I can't find it. So I usually don't like doing that. So keep everything in place, keep the mess at its minimum level. You'll always have hair here and there. Just try to get the majority in one place so it's not everywhere. You are going to have hair and fur all over your floor, your clothes, your tub, your table, your clipper, some brushes, and all of that. That's normal. Just keep it at a minimum, because your work area is so much safer for you and the dog, and things are just easier to find when you need them when they are in your place. Now, she doesn't really like me holding her paws. I'm not sure why. I'm guessing because they probably had to take blood samples from her when she was in treatment, so she really dislikes that part. Don't blame her. Most dogs don't like that anyway, so yeah. So I've made up 2 new rules for my business. They do have fundament. They're not just because I wanted to make them up and that's how I wanted things. They do have a reason. I will be explaining this reason into detail in another video, but new customers, new clients, new dogs will be wearing a muzzle until I can get an overall feel of how they are. That may take up to, I don't know, 3 or 4 grooms. Then I could be like, oh, okay, well, she's fine. She doesn't need a muzzle. But up until then, new clients will be muzzled. The dogs, of course. So that's rule number 1. And rule number 2 is I will no longer be accepting new large breed customers. Yeah, because I have 2 golden retrievers. Yeah, I think those are only 2 large breed clients. Anyways, I will not be taking in new dogs that are of a larger size because they are pretty hard to handle. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying all dogs are alike. No, that's not the case. All dogs are different. It's just that, well, I'm a petite person, and after what happened the other day, I am not going to deal with that anymore. I'm going to, stick to what I know, stick to what is safe for me and my health, so that, no accidents or at least any more accidents can happen. Alright, so for the head, I am also going to be using the same 7FC blade. I did ask the owner if I could leave some length on the ears, just so, she doesn't look completely shaved down, just to add a little cuteness. But she said no. I want her all shaved down, and the reason is because she has a sister that keeps licking and tugging at her ears and all of that, and it has actually caused some otitis in her ears. So, the owner doesn't want any more health issues for her pet, so she just wants a nice clean cut, shave down, and that's totally understandable. I completely agree with her. I wouldn't have it any other way. And yeah, we're still going at the shave pre-cut. You can tell she has a mole right there under her tail. That's pretty unusual to see. Anyways, we did all we could while she was sitting down, but now it is time to stand up so I can get part of her legs, and she really wasn't having it. She didn't like it. She's like, well, you got this far, so you can do whatever you like. I'm sitting down. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, look, this was right by her genital area. Who would want all of that junk? Anyway, I'm glad the owner decided to do this shave down. I'm really glad. I'm really happy. She doesn't want all of those poofy, specialized cuts, anything that would just make her more uncomfortable than she already has to be with all of those treatments and vet appointments and all of that. So I'm really happy for that. So she was giving me a really hard time with her paws. I did just end up leaving the majority of her paws as is, switching out my blade again. So while that one cools down, I can start using this one. Anyways, I did leave her paw pads as they were until after the bath, just because I couldn't get my blade in there because they were dirty, they were kind of wet, and they obviously have a lot of mats in there, so I couldn't get into the paw pad. So I just waited for the warm water and soap to get rid of any mud or anything that was in there, and then, well, when it dried, I just clipped it out. So I've been getting a lot of comments on my extremely matted, flea infested video on the music. I promise I won't put any more music on my videos. A lot of you actually, some suggested that, I shouldn't do that because it's too loud or it's too annoying. And some of you got really mad. And, I don't take it to heart what people say, well, at least mean things, what they say on the internet because, well, I don't know them and they don't know me. And however, I do have some very nice comments, people who really are kind and show their appreciation of that groom that day, and I really appreciate it. I really am thankful for people who think like me, and I really hope that I inspire some of you out there to do, things for the benefit of the dog rather than your pocket. That's sounds really harsh, I know, but it is what it is, it's the truth. Sometimes the truth can be uncomfortable. It can be controversial. I read a message saying, oh, you shouldn't have even charged the owner for that groom. It should have been free. And some of you were really kind and said, oh, well, thank you for helping, you know, that dog. And some of you were just plain old mean, but I don't care. I don't know you. I could care less what you think of me and my shop. So anyway, as I was taught from a very young age, if you're not gonna say anything nice, then don't say it at all. I don't see why some people take the time to actually, scroll down and look for the comment section and just be plain old mean. So if you really don't have anything nice to say, then you shouldn't be saying it at all. That's what I was taught. And for those of you who do say that, just know that it doesn't bug me. I really don't care. So yeah, I won't be putting on music anymore. I'll just be talking the whole time like this video. I hope I don't run out of things to say because that would be really awkward. So if you hear that in my videos, it's just that while I was editing, I couldn't find anything to say, so I just put in some crickets. So as much as I would love to put in the live sound of the video, I can't do that. I like to listen to the radio. I like to listen to music while I work. There's noise in the background, and you just wouldn't be able to hear me at all. And they're doing some construction work, so behind that door, so it'll be really difficult. And sometimes you can even hear the cars and motorcycles and people screaming outside. Yeah, so I don't see that happening. Maybe, I don't know, I'll have to see. But yeah, it's just a lot going on in the background, so I don't see that happening, at least not in the near future. So you're stuck with me on this voiceover. Once I tried it once with the Alfie video, the D Shed, but I actually got copyrighted for the music playing in the background, which was the radio. So I had to mute that part, and it's actually missing a piece of audio. So that's another reason why I can't, use the the original audio of the videos because I have music in the background, and I can get copyrighted and muted. So as you saw there on her tummy, she has a massive mass on her underside, so just have to be aware that it's under there, and when I come to pick her up, just like I did right there, be very careful not to poke it or squish it or anything. So the consultation, I think, is the most important part of any dog room, of any customer service really, is that when working with an animal, it's very important that the owner tells you what's going on, what she wants out of that groom, what can actually happen out of that groom, and more importantly, what are her health issues. I think that is a very important part of the grooming process, because then you are aware of certain things like the mass under her tummy, like the little wart that was on underneath her tail. All of that is very important to know, so that when you run your clippers through, you're not catching anything like that and causing a big old accident. So consultation is very important. Alright, so now we are just going to the face now and shaving that as well. I'm still using a number 7. Just want to get off as much hair off as possible so that we can go into the bath, because this is taking forever. I mean, we've already been here for about half an hour because she came in really tangled, and there were some mats in there, and the hair is pretty long. So we just want to get into the bath now and clean her up. So now that I'm running the clipper through her muzzle and her face and all of that, just make sure you have a nice and tight grip on her mouth, on your dog's mouth, because dogs have a tendency to lick their lips when they are not, comfy with whatever's going on. So you don't want ever that to happen while you have the clipper on their snout. So make sure you have a nice and firm, not extremely tight, but just a nice firm grip where they're not going to stick out their tongue, so you won't catch it, okay? It's very important. And as for clipping the ears, always go in a downward motion, never go across the ear leather. That is super dangerous. You can catch the edge of the ear with your clipper, especially a number 7. Like I said earlier, the teeth are more far apart than any other blade, so just be very careful. Most groomers, well, not most, but I'm pretty sure all groomers know this, but if you're doing your own dogs at home, make sure you know what you're doing and what not to do, because what not to do is just as important as learning the right steps. Alright, so I'm using a number 10, and I'm just using that in a scooping motion to try and take out anything that is in her stop area. The stop area is where the forehead, eyebrows, and snout meet. That's the stop. Just want to clear that out so there are no eye boogers in the future. I hate eye boogers. And just cleaning out this area with the edge of my number 10. Again, being very careful and having a firm grip on the mouth, because you don't want to catch their tongue. It's very important. Alright, so finally for the bath. I have recently purchased this spray thingamajigger. It basically holds your shampoo in this little deposit, and when the water comes through it, it adds water to it, and it sucks up the diluted shampoo. So I've put it on a number 2 dilution number on the dial, and we're just using some regular shampoo just to get her nice and lathered up. I use a all-natural shampoo. It's actually biodegradable. I think that since we are using so much water, it is very important for us to be conscious of what we're putting into the back into the environment. So I've recently just made up this policy of mine with the natural shampoo, and it's a lot easier on your hands as well since it is natural, and it actually has some anti-flea something in it, and aloe vera, so it's easier on your skin. It's good for the dog, it's good for the environment, so it's a win-win for everyone. So as for this sprayer, I actually got the inspiration by Miss Raquel Grant. I am going to give props to her for thinking of it. I just got a smaller version of it, and I like it. I really do. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's quite bulky. I find myself like trying to hold it different ways so that it's easier for me to carry, since I am using just one hand, one for the sprayer, one for the dog. So just switching the dial and making sure I get more shampoo on the dog and giving him a nice rub-it-up scrub in the tub. With the Zoom Groom, it actually removed quite a lot of dead skin and fur. Like, it really gets right up in the skin and just stimulates hair growth and all the natural oils that the dog produces on its own. It just makes everything reactivate and exfoliates, if you will, the skin. You can see there that it's actually lifting up some skin flakes that it had, and that was just from not brushing in a long time. It's like us humans, we shed like I don't know how many skin cells in a day. It's the same with dogs, just that they actually show up more because they have fur and it gets trapped in between the fur. So with this nice skin deep bath, we are removing all the dander and skin cells and dirt and all of that stuff. Alrighty, so I've taken off the muzzle and I'm going to fast forward this part because, well, you've seen me bathe dogs like a million times by now and it's nothing interesting. One thing I will say though is don't forget to pinch that dog's ears closed so that no water gets in and can potentially cause an ear infection. You never want to get water down the ear canal. I mean, the ear canal, as you hopefully have watched my ear plucking video, the ear canal actually runs really deep inside the dog. So it's very unlikely you will get, your finger or tool or anything really that deep in the dog's ear, but it is possible, and if you do it, it's most likely to cause an infection. So make sure you try not to get water in there, and if you do, the dog will shake its head anyway. And when you clean the dog's ear, then is where the ear solution will just, since it has some type of like, I'm guessing like alcohol based thing, it's most likely to dry up that water that got in there. Alright, so now it's time to towel dry. I would say use as many towels as you need, for that will cut down on your drying time. And if your dog goes kind of crazy when it's getting dried, well, then you really need to use as many towels as you can, so speed up that drying process. So when using a velocity dryer on a dog, try not to use it around their face because, well, they highly dislike that. And it actually, if your dryer is really powerful, you can actually cause some damage. So, but mine isn't. It's really not that strong. That's why sometimes I use it with a nozzle and sometimes I don't, because I need that extra oomph to really get a dog dry. But in this case, since we did pre-shave her, she doesn't need that nozzle because, well, her hair is pretty short. And I am also using my hand dryer on her, and I have it on a low heat setting, just so that it helps with the drying time. It just gets things done a lot quicker this way. And I would usually recommend do first with a velocity dryer, then do with a heated dryer. But since she's short, it doesn't really matter. And I'm seeing here that this little hair is actually not even attached to her tail. It was just hanging on to the rest of her hair that was on her tail. Alrighty, so like I said, she is 10 years old, and I'm trying to do everything for her as much as I can while she is sitting down. I don't want to overwork her. That's something you really have to worry about with senior dogs, is that you don't overwork or overstress your client, because, well, that's not going to be fun for the dog and not fun for you either. So make everything as comfortable as you can for that pet and yourself as well. Just makes life a lot easier. I always use earmuffs when dealing with the dryers, because you always have to look out for your health. So other than wearing a face mask, you also have to protect your ears, because that force dryer can be really loud, especially in an enclosed area. So always protect your hearing. Alright, so for nail cutting, I always try to cut them right after the bath and after the dog is nice and dry. That way, the nails have been soaking in water and they are less susceptible to splinter when cutting them, because that can happen when the nail is really dry. So this way they are nice and soft. Well, not soft, but you know what I mean. They're softer than when they're dry. So she doesn't like that. She's licking her lips already, which is a sign that she really dislikes that. So on black nails, what I like to do is just make an initial cut and go from there, see how close I can get to the quick. And if you have trouble with cutting your dog's nails, make sure to check out my video on where I explain it in detail, with a diagram and everything, and then a live video where I show how and where to cut so that you are not hitting that quick. And as a precaution, I always have on hand my quick stop with it, which is just a coagulant, so that if you do catch that quick, that you immediately put powder on it so you don't have a bleeding nail for that doggy, which you don't want to do, but in case you do, you are prepared. So here we go. Alright, so we are 40 minutes in the video, and I don't want to take up much of your time. We still have to do the final trim on this doggy, so I'm going to just put a little bit of that part, and then I'm going to show you some before and after pictures. I just wanted to mention that my videos take about no less than a week to upload, and that's like a, I don't know, half an hour to an hour long video. So I don't know why. I don't know how I can get YouTube to upload them faster. I mean, I'm not uploading, you know, in a super crazy high definition mode. I think it says 720p, and I don't know why it takes so long, but it does take quite some time. I've had videos for at least a week and a half to upload to YouTube, so yeah. Don't want to make this video really long so that it'll take forever to show up on my list. So yeah, if your videos upload faster than that, don't complain. Something else I wanted to say before I finish this video is that the matting in between the paw pads is like walking around with rocks in your shoes. So if you're an owner and you can carefully clip that away with some small scissors, or if you have a clipper, make sure you don't leave that on your dog, because it's, like I said, walking around with rocks in your shoes or in your socks. Alright guys, so that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. And here are some before and after pictures. Have a wonderful day, happy grooming, and stay safe out there. Bye guys!